What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company. Our purpose? Enhancing America's infrastructure with a safety-driven, integrity-led culture that provides an environment for team members to grow and thrive. The early years, a journey of discovery. As a kid, my first true passion was running heavy equipment. The sight and sound of the big machines captivated me. Growing up, it was common to be surrounded by a track hoe, bulldozer. My grandpa built houses for a living. He was self-employed, and oftentimes me and my dad would go dig out foundations, dig out footers to be poured, and transport equipment to various job sites. When I was 5 years old, I became quickly enamored with the thought of running equipment. At the young age of 5 years old, that was the first time that I ever sat on a full-size track hoe and learned how to operate. If there was any bulldozer work being done, I would oftentimes go to sit on the side of the track hoe, and I would just hang out on the side. It was something that I greatly enjoyed to do. I still enjoy it to this day, and every once in a while, if I'm fortunate enough, I will go out to the backyard of our shop at R&R Pipeline and run a piece of equipment. As I got older, as I was growing up, I was an overweight kid. I was fairly chubby and was often teased about it. I used to be embarrassed to take my shirt off in front of other people. And I would always have the same nightmare. I was a young kid getting ready to get on the bus, and as soon as I walked up to get on the bus and turned the corner to go sit down, I would have no shirt on and everyone would be pointing at me laughing. And the fear of not having my shirt on in front of other people haunted me. I used to be the kid that would wear a shirt in the pool in front of all his friends because he was ashamed of what he had underneath the shirt. And the shame quickly got worse because of my inability to read and write very well. English and grammar is something that I've struggled with throughout the longevity of my life. And this fear of not being able to read and write very well, compounded with being afraid of being shirtless and being made fun of, led to me having a huge fear of presenting anything, speaking in front of people, speaking out in a crowd. And even as I got older, being on camera or in the spotlight terrified me. And because of that, I just developed these two fears of being shirtless in front of other people and being on camera, public speaking, whatever it may be. Because of the fear, I didn't know how to change that reality, but I did know the only thing I could do being overweight was start to work out. So I picked up some magazines, Muscle and Fitness, the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I just started training. I just started working out. And at the very beginning, like majority of people, it's a bench press and a bicep curl. I want to see bicep veins. And I had an old weight bench that was probably mid 80s, and it was tiny. It was so tiny that I could barely fit on the thing comfortably. I probably had it for a few years, and then I eventually got a gym membership or would work out at the high school. Eventually, weightlifting became a non-negotiable. I would lift before school, sometimes during school, sometimes after school. It was something that was a mental and physical release for me. It showed me the ability to do something hard frequently without much of a return on investment right away. passion for that started very young, and your passion can be instilled in you at any age. Passion is something very powerful, and once we realize how to capitalize on our passion in life, it becomes a driving force for ultimately who we become as an adult. Whether you're a person who enjoys doing certain things or doesn't enjoy certain things, majority of that comes from something in our childhood. We often create passion by our environment as our youth, and majority of the time, passion is driven by adversity and how we overcame it. Adversity is an inevitable part of life, but how we respond to it truly defines who we become. There's a famous picture that I often refer to. There is an alcoholic guy on the street who is homeless and dirty, and there's a guy handing him lunch for that day. The guys are brothers, and their dad was an alcoholic. The homeless alcoholic followed in the dad's footsteps, and the brother giving the homeless guy food. The brother didn't follow in the footsteps because of what he went through. So adversity is nothing more than a situation that is perceived as a problem, but actually becomes an opportunity to overcome our environment from our youth. The first step in overcoming adversity, though, is embracing it and facing your fears. And for me, that first step toward overcoming my adversity was weightlifting. As I continued through my teenage years, the confidence grew, but the fear never left. And as I've aged, I realized that the fear is never going to leave. But what we do with the fear is the ultimate driver into who we become. I now recognize the fear is never going to go away, so I am in control of the fear. The fear does not control me. And that is very, very powerful.